let's get jump into the session. Okay, it's loading. So, what is EC2? Why it has been marked as one of the most important service in the AWS? Okay, so EC2 is the service which has been launched very early. Okay, it is like they have launched it very early in 2007. They have started launched this AWS service. So still till from right that time moment to still now, it is one of the most used service in the AWS community. Okay, so give me a moment, I have some internet issue, I will fix it. Okay, so today we are going, as I said earlier, we are going to discuss about compute resource. One of the compute resource service is the AWS. So before getting into the session, we'll see the business request. What is the compute services? What is Amazon EC2 instances, EC2 instance store, and the EC2 pricing option? So these are the topics we are majorly going to discuss in this week. Lambda, in our after our free sessions are completed, in our paid course, we will discuss about the Lambda and other serverless services, right? So this is the business requirement. Okay, like compute operation manager wants to know what AWS compute services are available. So there are a lot of compute services are available, not many, but uh, there are few compute services are available. So what are the compute services are available? What should the team consider when deploying a new and existing services to AWS EC2? How we can optimize the cost for compute resources, how do we know which type of volume to attach to our EC2 instance, and where can we start with the serverless compute option. So these are the questions has been asked by your compute operations manager. So we will try to answer these questions at the end of this sessions. Okay, moving forward, what is compute services? First, what are the compute services are available? Okay, as I said earlier, EC2, EC2, it's launched in 2006. Sorry, I told it 7. So EC2 is launched in 2006. So that is the first compute service in the AWS. Even if you take it is a third service in the overall as AWS launched it. Okay. Then 2014 they have launched the containerization after the Docker containers. Uh, container platform has been evolved. They have launched a containerization platform. We have a separate module which is named in the containers modules. So there we will discuss. Okay, 2014 then launched a Lambda, which is a serverless or compute service. And 2017 they have implemented the serverless containerization. And 21 Trianium processors, which like for high-end compute power processors they have implemented. And for in general, they have released one more server is called as processor is called a Graviton, which is based on ARM 64 processor. By default, mostly AWS will be using the Intel process, so they wanted to move on better performance. So they have created a Graviton processor in 2022. So before getting into an EC2 instance, first we have to understand what is virtual machines. So virtual machine is the this is theory like a hardware impedance, all those things fine. So but in general, what does virtual machine means? In late 1990s only this virtual machine concept has been arrived. Okay, I will just show or virtual machine images. So this is what the virtual machine image will be looks like. Okay, so if you take it, so earlier, before 1990s and all, there will be a one host hardware, a very big host hardware will be available. On the top, they will be having a host operating system. Take an example, if it is in a 1000 GB of system, okay, and then there will be a host operating system, and then that entire 1000 GB system will be with the same host on operating system only. So then it will be like when we want a small systems with a different set of OS operating system, it is it be it we will not able to create it. So that is where VMware is one company, I believe, and then other virtualization concept has been evolved in late 90s. That is where they will be installing one hypervisor on the host operating system. They will implemented one more layer which is called as a hypervisor. So with the help of hypervisor, they can able to split that whole system into multiple segments, and then each multiple segments they were able to install a guest OS, and then on that guest OS we will be able to run our application, right? This whole system has been, now maybe this is running in the Linux operating system, but on top of it they have splitted in that whole system has been splitted into three different VM machines with a different OS like a SUSE, Fedora, CentOS. Like that, we can run our guest OS on top of it, and then we can run our application on the particular platform as an independent. Okay, because this virtual machine is independent to other machines. So virtual machines provides the following benefits of hardware independence: faster provisioning speed in minutes or hours, and then here these are the concepts are for AWS. Okay, so AWS one of the first AWS service. Amazon EC2 was one of the first AWS service in the service released in 2006. That's what I told already. First one is S3 SQS, and third, actually it was the third service, to be precise, has been released by AWS. Currently we will be having around 260 services, okay, from the AWS. Okay, containerization we will discuss in detail during our containers module. There is a dedicated module is available, so we will discuss into as the diagram shown. 2006 we have launched, they have launched EC2, and then as it evolved, 2014 we have a ECS Lambda, Farragut 17, and other processors came to picture. Okay, so first we'll discuss about the EC2, EBS volume. These are the two things. I will try to complete EC2. Okay, in paid classes we will be having this EBS and Lambda. Okay, so EC2 instance. What is EC2 instance? Now we know what is virtual machines. So after 1990s, virtual machines has been becoming a boom, and then everyone started using virtual machines. So AWS providing one virtualization thing. Did anyone miss me? There was okay. Sorry. Sorry, yes. So EC2 instance has given AWS service has given one service for a virtualization, that is an EC2 instance. Is virtualization servers are nothing but it is a servers, okay, where we will be running our application. Okay, physical servers host EC2 instance in the AWS region around the world. As I said, they will implementing the virtualization. As I said in the first session, we discussed about the regions and all, right, where across the world AWS will be having their own data centers and all those things, right? On those physical servers, AWS hosted the EC2 instance, that is virtualization, and then they are providing as a platform as a service or something, okay, where you can run your own code. So Amazon EC2 is the service that you use to create and run a virtual machines. Your virtual machine in the AWS or in the AWS cloud are called EC2 instance. Okay, it is uh, to create a virtual machines on AWS. That service is an EC2. It is same like the VGMs. It's like a same traditional on-premises service only. It is a play service where we will, but it will be in AC2 will be in the cloud, and then where we can host web application, database, all those hosting stuffs we can do in the servers, right? So usually in the servers we will be hosting application, we will be hosting a database. They can be used as the storage containers. All these things can also be used as a AWS servers. Okay, but why? What is benefit you are getting out of EC2 instance? The first service we discussed what is cloud computing, right? Pay as you go model. I have discussed about one bouquet business where that after you are procuring server, like take an example, you built one application, okay, for your own business, which is a business, and then you expect a lot of customers going to buy in online. So you built in a server and procured, if it is an on-prem service, you procured and set up in your place and all those things done. At front, you say, spent around 10 lakh rupees. Okay, after a month, business is gone, no one is buying in the online, so you decided to discard that one. Then at front you spend this money, you can't I don't know, like you have to sell your server to someone in second market or something. Then your place, what are the place you designed, all those things you need to remove. This is kind of overhead, right? But the same application, once you build, you can go to EC2 instance based on your customer. You can get a smaller server or a bigger servers. It's not so, based on your requirement, you can get it, and you can pay only for what the amount of EC server you use. Maybe 1 month, after 1 month, as the first segment. For example, if your business is gone, means you are going to pay only for a month of resource what you used. So this is the best, one of the best benefit out of EC2 instance. And EC2 instance, one service made AWS to or cloud computing to a world wide reach. Because earlier, whenever there is a startup is building, right? When the startup started building, is they are obviously, instead of going and purchasing on a traditional servers, they started using EC2 instance. So to be precise, EC2 is one service made AWS to I should know, it's not only AWS, so it's like a public cloud like Azure or AWS. EC2 is a one service which made everything, the cloud environment itself popular. Okay, so that we have to think. Okay, so when you want to create an EC2 instance, before getting into creating an EC2 instance, I will launch an console. So we will show how what is the console tour of EC2 instance. I believe in last session also I've shown how to where to go EC2 instance. Okay, I believe everyone created an AWS account and started your learning. So if not, please create a new account and start learning. So if you it's recently visit, so it is there. So EC2, okay, this is a virtual servers in the console. This is the page you will be landed for EC2. So instances where you have to think. I have a lot of, I will switch to other region to avoid. Okay, there won't be any instance in this region. So this is how the page, if you are having a new website. Okay, so if you see here, launch instance means, which means I'm going to create a new virtual machines. Amazon EC2 allows you to create a virtual machines or instance that runs on a AWS cloud. Quickly get started by simple steps follow. Okay, so when you are launching in a EC2 instance, these are the things needs to keep it in the consideration. First one is name tags, application and OS image, instance type and size, key pair, network security, storage, placement and tenancy, and scripts and metadata. So these are the major 8 things needs to be keep in a consideration while you are launching in a EC2 instance. So we will discuss one by one. The first thing is tax. What is this tax does? Major benefit of out of this tag is for an identification. Take an example, you will have hundreds of an EC2 instance running in your environment, in your account. Suddenly you want to filter only a particular, suddenly you want to filter 10 EC2 instance or some kind of such a kind of amount. Okay, so how you will be able to how you will be able to filter effectively if they are having something in common. Take an example, three environments usually will be having in companies, right? devs uh, dev stage and prod. So you want to group dev in servers and all together, stage servers and all together, and then a production. So what, how we can do this mean is through the AWS tags. So what is this tags does means, you can with the help of this tags you can use it for filters, because if you are going with a console you will be able to view it, but if you are running some CLI commands as an automation tools and all means, you have to provide, if you are having a tags properly, then it will be very easy. Okay, if in this example they see, they want to stop an EC2 instance with the dev2 tag image. Okay, which means the developer environment 2 system has to be is stopped. So CLI command we can pass it with the certain filters. Okay, stop instance with the tag dev2, like that I can owner equal to dev2, like that if you send me, only this EC2 instance will be stopped, right? So these are the benefits out of tags. So tags are case sensitive, so you should be very careful. Maybe you are keeping in a filter with the caps letters and all, you in your AWS console, if you keep it is in a small letter limit, that kind of things will not taken into the consideration. It is a very case sensitive, so it should be a same as it is. Okay, so that is the first and foremost thing. Okay, usually tags will be in the format of key and value. This is a key here, name, and for that value here I'm giving CDP EC2 1. Okay, CDP EC2 1. Suppose if you want to add an extra tags, you can at the end also we can create, here also we can create. Okay, here I'm just giving this environment is dev dev, like that I'm giving value. Okay, so resources, so you can have a n number of tags that up to 50 tags you can have. That means not n number means that you can have 50 tags. So I added two tags, and then maybe time created by Gautham I'm just giving. Okay, so something like this. So this is the tags will be the first and foremost things. Okay, and then the second is the most major stuff. What is that mean is Amazon machine image. So Amazon machine image is provides you which kind of server you are going to launch. Okay, because if you are going to launch an server, you need a OS, you need that basic stuffs, right? Without a OS you can't run. If you get a take a think of it like you purchase a laptop. In that laptop, if they don't provide either of, if you are going with the Mac, they will provide a Mac OS. If you are going with the Windows, they will providing the Microsoft OS, right? Without providing any OS, if they give a system, is how difficult it will be, right? So to avoid it, not to avoid it, say they will, so they will provide you a uh, what it is, they will provide you a template, like which soft with the configuration of OS and application server and application, a basic components to build your applications. They will provide, that will be available in the AMI, Amazon machine images. Okay, Amazon machine image provides the information that required to launch an instance, that is a server which is a virtual server in the cloud. You can launch a multiple instance from the AMI. That is not an issue. You can, using a single AMI, you can launch multiple EC2 instance. Okay, you can use a different AMI to launch instances when you need instance with a different configuration. Specify a source AMI when you launch an instance. That's what here we are doing. So which OS you want to use, you have to specify. Suppose if you are going to build a Red Hat server, means you can use a Red Hat. SUSE Linux, SUSE means SUSE. Suppose if you are going to return you are going to build a Mac OS, means you can use a Mac OS. Okay, so So I will be going with an Amazon Machine Linux. So I'm choosing like this, and then there are some more things needs to be discussed in the AMI. So when you are launching an AMI, AMI include the following attributes. What is the template or the root volume for the instance? Okay, which is having the OS, application server, and application connectivity. Those kind of information will be there in that root volume that will be provided. Launch a permission to control which AWS accounts can use to launch instances. Block device mapping also, like external memory also will be attached with that, when it will be provided in that, which kind of memory, whether it is an EBS or instance storage, we will discuss it the last topic in detail. But that these three things will be available in your AMI. So here I am going where to get an AMI. Okay, so if you choose it, if you go here and choose, there is a AMI catalog where you can have a tons of AMIs. Okay, these are all the AMIs created by AWS itself, predefined AMIs. So that one created by me, like I will come back to this topic. I will tab again. There will be a marketplace AMIs where the third party, maybe AWS, and then some companies like maybe a big companies like Splunk Enterprise or Fortinet. These are the Cisco. They will partnerized with the AWS and they will launch in a AMIs. So that will be available in the marketplace AMI, and then community AMIs in the sense like a peoples like you, me, who can create a community AMIs and can publish in the AWS. Suppose if I want to use means I can use your AMI as well. That is will be community AMIs. So my AMIs is like I can also create my own customized AMI. Okay, I can create my own customized AMI with the set of softwares. Okay, usually in the companies they will be using a customized AMIs. What they will do means they will launch a base AMI. On top of that base AMI, they will install the customized softwares. Okay, like maybe take an example, I am building a Java application, right? What I can do means after with this help of this base AMI, I will install all the software required to me, like with the Java, Tomcat server, whatever servers is required for applications required for to run my Java application. I will install everything inside that one, and I will build it as an AMI. So when I next time when I need to launch a server, I will use that AMI by default. All the software which are all things are installed in that AMI will be available in my EC2 instance. So I don't need to customizely install it. So that is also option. We can create our own AMI, as well as we can make use of AWS predefined AMIs as well. So here after I chosen a tax, I will be choosing the next one, Amazon Linux. Be make sure you are using a free tier. There were certain images will not comes under, most of the images will not come under the free tier. Very few instances, very few EC2 instance will be in the free tier, so you have to choose it. Okay, free tier eligible, so choose, make sure it. And then if you want to go with the ARM64 architecture, you can use ARM architecture. If you want to use the Intel, you can choose a x86. Okay, this is the what AMI. So I'm pausing for a 2 minutes. If you 1 minute, if you guys have any doubts, please let me know. So I will take it as no doubts, so I'm going forward. So the next step is launching. If you see here, the next step is instance type. What is this instance type? In general, what is the instance type is how much server, big server or what, those kind of things. Okay, there are around 400 types of EC2 instance are available, because one thing is all the application is not the same, right? Each application is different and its requirement differs based on the application. So AWS provides wide variety of instance types. So based on your application we can use it. Okay, so in if you take, usually here if you launch here, it is a T2 micro. Okay, and then if you see means C6, X large, 2x large, like this. The namings will be there. So how this namings has been created means C will be a instance family, which we'll discuss now, and then C will be C6 will be after the instance family. It's a number will be there, which is a generation. Over the days, whenever they suppose they are launching a new server with the name of C6 X large, sorry, with this X large configuration in the C family, they will launch it with the C7. So it's the instance generation number, which generation it is. And then G is an additional properties, because as shown in the first slide, 20 after 2022 they were installing the graviton in C5 C4 and all. You don't have this additional property now. After they involved a uh, graviton process, C6I will be a Intel processor, C6G will be a graviton processor. That is what that indication actually. That's an additional property. Okay, in old servers and all you can't find this one. If you see, the T2 micro also doesn't have that one, right? T2, T is a one systems family, 2 is the generation, but after that nothing is there, because it is we don't have such a proper graviton and Intel for T services, T series services and all. So it is a CC, G is an additional property, and X large, large, this is the instance size. Okay, so C is the first letter of the instance family. For example, C is the family as a compute optimized. There are a lot other families we'll discuss now. C6 is the next number, is the generation, which gradually AWS upgrades the hardware in its data center, and they will launch a new server. So G, sometimes one more or more letters appears in after the generation. This letter represents the additional property. In this example, G stands for graviton 2 ARM based processor. X large is, as I said, it's a size. Okay, so these are the generalized instance families are available in AWS. It is a T series will be in the general purpose, whereas the memory optimized, storage optimized, compute optimized, and accelerated compute. So general purpose, it's a very small diverse application with very minimal configurations, where you have a very generic application. For that we will be using a general purpose instance family, which is the T series and M series. Okay, and then memory optimized means maybe you, if you want to run a database, caches, analytics, those kind of things will be memory optimized application. For that we will be using R series and the X series. Okay, whereas compute optimized means when you need a very high performing compute, like a faster processor, like this live streamings, machine learning, so such kind of application will be there in the compute optimized. For that we will be using a C series. And accelerated computing, which will be having very high end stuffs, okay, graphics kind of things. Storage optimized, where you want to store data effectively. Maybe performance is not an issue, but you need a high storage optimized. So for that you will be using a storage optimized instance family. So these are the quite different instance families are available. So based on your application requirement, which the what is the your applications mode, like a use case or something, those kind of things will with that we will be you have to, with that you have to choose the instance family. So here I'm going to use a T2 micro, because if you choose other other uh, EC2 instance types are not comes under a free tier. Okay, so you have, as I said in the first session, we will be having a free tier with the certain limitations. Okay, so that's kind of limitation. Here they are providing free tier, eligible is for a free, as a free tier, so we have to use it. Okay, okay, so that is a free time. So the next topic is what benefits of having a newer generation instance type. So what AWS always says means, whenever they are launching a new generation, it will be always better than the previous generation. So you can save a cost, but how much in the real time, I didn't feel that the change, that huge differences and all, but they are climbing themselves. Okay, that is one thing is discussed inside. So this one it's not required. I will take it later. So the next topic is EC2. So till now we have added a tags, we have added an application image, and then we chosen the instance type. The next tab is keeper. Okay, what is this keeper does? See, if we are having an house, can you able to give key to everyone? No, right? So if you are having house, you will be locking with the lockers. So how the lock will be opened? If you provide a particular key which is a suitable key to your lock, then it will be lock will get open. The same thing. So when you want to authenticate, like taken you built on EC2 instance, if I can able to log in that EC2 instance and do changes, means it will be very, I can exploit your EC2 instance, right? So for that authentication mechanism, usually username password will be there in the virtual desk pass VM, which when you go with the virtual desk pass, you will be using a VM. But using a username password also critical. So for that, they are having some mechanism in the Linux settings, which is a key pass, which consists of two keys. One is a private key and then public key. So when you are creating this key pair consists of private key and public key, which is a set of security credentials. You use a key pair to prove your identity when connecting to an EC2 instance. When you want to connect an EC2 instance with this key, you are telling that I am a legit user. Please let me in into the EC2 instance. So we have to provide. You have to create an EC2 instance if you want this EC2 instance not go open. Okay, so it will as I said, it consists of two keys. One is a private, another one is a public. So in the you private key will be with us, and then public key will be stored with your EC2 instance. Okay, so EC2 instance stores the public key and you store the private key. You use a private key instead of password to securely access your EC2 access your EC2 instance. So I will show how to do SSH and all once after we create an EC2 instance. Okay, with this private key we will be making them that I am a proper user, let me in or something. Okay, so I am going to create one new private key pair, which is a CDP key pair. CDP key pair. Okay, so once if you create your key pair means automatically private key will get downloaded. So you have to keep it safe, because this key, if anyone able to get this key, they can able to connect to your EC2 instance. So it should be very careful. You have to keep it very careful. So see, this is a PEM key. I got it in my system. So I will be using it while connecting SSH. We'll see discuss it. Okay. So that is a key pair. Okay, this whole group is there is a separate module is there, which is a networking module. We will be discussing it in the once we formally launched it in the paid versions. So I am not going to choose any changes now. By default AWS will give a default to for learning purpose, they will be giving the default network. So can you can make use of it. I am not going to change anything. One I'm just going same. Okay, so next one is tenancy. Okay, so before this volume also I'm going to keep it the same, because however in the EBS we will going to discuss, so I'm just keeping it. Okay, as a default configuration I'm going with an advanced details. The next thing is tenancy. What is this tenancy actually? How you want to keep your system in the racks? Okay, if you open advanced concept, there will be a placement group tenancy. Yeah, this option is there, right? This is a tenancy. So how you want to keep your EC2, how you want to create your EC2 instance? What does that mean is there will be three types: shared tenancy, dedicated tenancy, and dedicated host. Okay, we are very common peoples. Okay, whenever we go trip. Okay, whenever we go trip, we will be sharing. If we are going trip with our friends, we will be sharing we will be renting a room in the hotel, and then we will be sharing the room, right? So that is what this one. We will be sharing the this is a shared tenancy, which means a multiple accounts might share the same physical hardware. Because I told you, I do remember I told you earlier, EC2 instance will be created in the dedicated there will be a dedicated physical software. On top of only they are installing this guest OS, and then they are creating a virtual machine. So this which hardware will be having where many people can use the same hardware. Such a kind of things is called shared tenancy. That's what I'm trying to relate it with my roommate. I can share my room with many people who is my friends, or maybe if I'm going a trip with the community people, unknown people I may need to share, I'm ready to share. Like such kind of things is called a shared tenancy. By default EC2 will be created in the shared tenancy. But you think, okay, I need a hardware level, okay, host hardware level. uh, I need just a dedicated hardware. Maybe inside that physical server we will be having hardware. That isolated hardware I need, okay, that is called as a dedicated instance. Maybe in our case I need my own room. I can't share with the room with anyone, okay, as a common people. That is how I can connect with a dedicated instance. I need a separate physical isolated hardware. There they In this case, on that particular room, what are the things needs to have, I can do it, okay. They are isolated from instances that are not dedicated to former instances to belong to other AWS account. So others can't come into my room and sleep or something, okay. That room is completely occupied to me, and then I can enjoy it. That is what dedicated instance isolate your hardware. And then in this case, I if that people whatever the company is that hotel is providing, that kind of things I can use of it, okay, I make it use of it. Take an example, I have my own house, okay. I have my own house. If I'm going a trip, I have my own house in that city. I can go and stay, okay, with I am the alone only person. Since it is my own house or something I am leasing, I'm renting, that means I can put my own uh, it's not my own house. I'm rented that complete building for an complete building for an sometime, okay. So I can put my orders like who should come inside that building and who should go outside. So such a things is called a control your whole hardware. You will be getting full power from the AWS. That is your hardware. You can make use of your own rules like a complaints and all. So such things will be called as a dedicated host. Usually dedicated host will be created for very high complaints data, like regulatory data, like the embassy data, our Aadhaar card details, PAN card details. Those are all very highly sensitive data, right? So that you don't need to share with the other host peoples and all. So that kind of instances they will be keeping in the dedicated host. It is too costly, so don't try it. Don't change the option. If you change and run the dedicated host, means your pocket will be hold with the AWS bill, okay. So keep the default thing. So that is what tenancy is, how you are going to create your EC2 instance, okay. So next point is placement group. So how you want to keep your system? Take an example here. I'm telling that I'm going to create 10 EC2 instances. Okay. So how I want to keep this 10 EC2 instances, whether together or far away from each other or some logical components. How I want to keep this 10 EC2 instance in the servers. Okay. Visual machine. That's what it is, like a placement groups will be comes into the picture. There is an option called placement group. Sorry. Yes, here it is. You can create your own placement group as well, okay. Cluster usually will be having a cluster spread and partition. If you want to create a clustered environment, means all those 10 EC2 instance will created together and keep it in the same rack, okay. When you want this 10 EC2 instance needs to connect to each other with very low latency, means then you will be going within a clustered part placement group. Okay, there is a spread placement group means maybe you have a data which has been very critical. So if one because sometimes server racks will go down, right? Maybe sometimes server racks go down means for all the EC2 instance in same server rack means if there is a power outage you can lose the data and you can't do it. So such kind of things, it is a very critical instance of fault tolerant data, usually that medical you want to keep it in across the network. So even one goes wrong means other servers from the other rack will get it. So such kind of things is a spread. And then partition is like a grouping three out of 10, three servers together, three servers and four servers, like I can distribute it based on the certain logics. I will keeping creating a partition and keeping the EC2 instance of partition mode. So these are the three different placement groups are available in general. So you can based on our use case we can choose which placement group will be good for me. Okay, so with that, this is a major thing. User data, what is this user data will be doing? So user data is a additional scripts. Okay, when you are launching your EC2 instance, you want to run a script. Okay, when you want to, by default I need to run, maybe you want to install a software or whatever you want, right? As the default when you are launching an EC2 instance itself, you need, like in our, whenever we purchase a mobile, by default they will giving some applications, right, in our mobile and all, or even in our laptop, like that. When you're launching in a server itself, you want a default set of things or certain things needs to happen in your server means those kind of details we will be providing in a EC2 instance, sorry, user data file. Runs a script as a root user after the instance launch. Once after your VM has been created, these scripts will be running as a root user, can be used to perform automated configuration tasks. That's what I'm telling, right? Maybe you want to patch update some software installations, additional softwares, all those things you will be able to keep it over here. Okay, so run by cloud init on Windows, run by EC2 instance or launches. Okay, so here we will be running cloud init. Okay, so I'm having a set of sorry, what it is means I'm having certain scripts with me. I will explain. It's just a bin bash script. I'm updating the, since it is an Amazon Linux, it should be an M update. So I'm updating my system. Okay, okay, it will be updated, and then I've installed one HTTPD web server, and then I'm starting that web server, enabling it, and I have created one file which is in the index.html with the content of hello world and then host name. We will see how this thing is happens. Okay, so these are the quiet steps I will be recapping. And okay, first, we discussed about the tags where we will be having a names, environment for filters and all we created. The next option which we chosen is an image, where image will be having the base softwares and all those things, like operating system, application server, all information will be remaining in the images. So with the whatever there in that image will be getting into that EC2 instance. And then instance type we chosen key pair. Network settings we didn't choose because we have a dedicated module, and configure storage which we are going to see in the second half of the instance. And then we have talked about placement group, tenancies, and then user data. And there is one more slide will be called as a metadata. So metadata, we will be, suppose you want to get some information about your EC2 instance means we will be using a metadata. It will not be widely used by many people. Okay, suppose take an example how you want to print your EC some information about your EC2 instance. So you can write, maybe talk an example, this hostname dot hyphen I is there, right? This what is that means it will get the whole it will run a command which is a metadata comment like 169, and then what is his host name, because this is the metadata available in your system. Okay, metadata is the information about your own system. If here, if you see, one metadata is local host name. So when I am running this script, this metadata will run inside, this query will run inside. Okay, it will get this public host name, and then it will be substituting that value here. This, all this will be learned internally. So such kind of informations we will can get, instance information we will be getting in the instance metadata. Okay, so yeah, so these are the options we have seen, and we have built a user data. So I'm going to create a two EC2 instance. If I click on launch, okay, yeah, two new servers has been created for us. Okay, see, it is pending. The life cycle will be usually pending, and then it will go initializing and starting. Okay, so and then we have a instance states. This is the instance states we will be having. These are the instance states. First is start, stop, reboot, hibernate, and terminate. I will talk about this one. Start means we are starting then a EC2 instance. Okay, in case if you want to stop an EC2 instance, you can stop. Suppose if you want to restart the EC2 instance means we will be using a reboot, and terminate. The what you want to delete this EC2 instance means you will be using a terminate state. Okay, so these are the quite three options. Hibernate is an advanced concept. I will take it later sometimes. Okay, where we will be when we are using with an EC2 instance, auto scaling, which is tomorrow's session. I will talk about the hibernate stuff. Okay, so now we have launched a 2 EC2 instance. Let it initialize. Its status check is doing. Usually two of two will come, means there will be some status checks will be happen inside, whether this EC2 instance has been running properly, like which means the power is there, the kind of any connectivity issues, the kind of under the hardware, like. Okay, so such kind of information is initializing. So once it completed, it will give a past something. Okay, so we have created an EC2 instance now. So we launched two new EC2 instances. Okay, so we'll try to jump into this EC2 instance and try to connect it. Okay, so okay, so one way, there are multiple ways you can connect. If you click on this connect option, with the help of EC2 instance connect, you can directly connect it over the website itself. Else, if you're having a Windows system, means you have to download a PPK. So if you are having a Linux or a AWS, sorry, Linux or a Mac system, means you can use a PEM keys. So I will be running a terminal. Okay. So before that one, okay, this is my public IP address, right? Or I can use this public DNS. If I put a hint, can see it's HTTP, not HTTPS. Okay. Okay, I understood the reason why it is not coming. Give me a moment. These are all things we will be discussing during the network configurations. So I'm just making it now. Okay, we will be discussing in detail in networking. Okay, so if I hit it, let's just get the output. Just a moment. Okay, I think issue was not. I understood the issue. Okay, I will see it. Okay. So I'm launching the EC2 instance. So we'll debug the issue. Okay, downloads. Sudo was missing. So how we want to connect to other EC2 instance? Okay, either in the, as I said, I can go and connect here using a EC2 instance connect. Okay, straight away I can use this EC2 instance connect. I could able to connect it. That is one option. Or else what I can do is through the my CA terminal I could connect. For that they will provide the detailed uh, steps. You want to run, you have to run this command where you have to find the location where your key is there and change the mode of that key. Because okay, and then if I run this command I could SSH into the AWS instance. Okay, here I did right the same thing. I'm going there. It will be good to use here because you will be having a flexible. So currently I am in the machine of EC2 instance. If I run a host name, if I, you can see right 172.31.6.173, which is the instance of, if you see this is a private IP of my EC2. So that means I am inside the VC2 instance. So I was we run the command right, this command we run, which means I've created a new file under a folder where www.html and index.html. I think since I didn't put a sudo command before, it didn't generate. Okay, that is the okay. CD www didn't generate because I didn't put the sudo command. So I will, okay, I will run it manually. Okay, sudo su, I will check whether there is anything is there or not. Okay, I think because of sudo is not there, we didn't run it. Okay, that's fine. Nothing to do. I'm installing a HTTP server. So the script has not run properly in the AWS user data. That is the reason it was not there. So I'm running the script manually. Start, enable, created symlink. Okay, I'm running the same thing. Okay, so if I see now where AWS, sorry, www HTML. So there will be one file which is called as an index.html. By default, we know it is a web server. By index.html will be invoked directly. So when I hit this IP, we will be getting then hello world from this IP, this UC2 instance. The same. I my mistake. What it means, it didn't run the sudo mode, so it has not happened actually. Okay, so that is the issue. I will correct this script, but thing is now you guys are able to understand right. Now I have launched an EC2 instance. I created a Tomcat server, sorry, HTTP server, and I am able to hit it via from the application. Suppose if you are having a Java application, install the required stuffs over in that application, in that server, and then host your application, and then we can able to hit it from the internet. So this is what EC2 is providing to us. Okay, everyone is clear how to create EC2 instance. And then so once after you believe that this is you don't require this EC2 instance anymore, means you can now choose and terminate EC2 instance. Okay, terminate it. So it will shut down the EC2 instance and it will remove what, because when we are launching in a virtual machine in the data center, it will take some amount of memory and creating a virtual machine. So once if you shut down means all those memories will be reclaimed to them. So you will be paying for hour Like if I created a hour means I will be paying only for 1 hour. Whatever the amount for this type of EC2 instance, I will be paying. Okay, that is what difference. Okay, so what is storage of EC2 instance? Okay, this is the second half I told. While creating our EC2 instance, do you remember there is a 8 GB of memory? I told there is a configure storage thing. We configured 8 GB of memory. Do you guys remember? So this is that storage. Here we are giving a storage, right? Configure storage. This is what there are different types of storages available. What does this mean is we'll discuss. So storage of our device means we know we in the server we will be having the RAM. In our applications itself, like in our laptop or mobile itself, we will be having a RAM and ROM. So RAM types and all will be there in the EC2 instance families, 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of ROM, all those things. That ROM memory is called as an uh, volumes. Okay, so there are two types of things are there. One is a EBS, another one is instance store. We'll discuss instance store. The majorly 90% of applications will be using a Amazon block store. Okay, Amazon block store is an Amazon EBS, which is a block level storage. Okay, there are different types of storage. We have a dedicated storage session. There we will discuss what is the difference between block, object, and file, all those things. Okay, so block EBS will be follows a block level storage format. Automatically volume will be replicated in your multiple zones. Okay, it is like a you can attach one or more volumes to a single EC2 instance. Like kind of this thing is like you can use it as an external hard disk as well. Like we are having a external hard disks and all, we will be attaching with our EC2 with our laptop, and we will be detached. Okay, there will be a and then you can add it by default. Laptops will give their default ROM. If you want to add a extra memory means we will be putting in a additional memories we are adding in our laptop and all, right. The same thing for a single EC2 instance, we can have one or more EBS volumes we can attach, and then we can run our applications. So EBS volume provides a durable detachable. This is the word is major thing, detachable. What is the detachable means? Once the job is done, you want to terminate the EC2 instance, but you need those datas. What you can do means once if you are attaching the EC2 instance, delete the EC2, all the data will get erased. So what you can do means you can detach that EBS volume means all the data you can have it, and then you can delete your EC2 instance means all the data will be available with you. So you can use that same data and attach it to the other EC2 instance, and then you can run it. So that is that word is very important, detachable. Okay, so ABS volumes are provided durable, detachable, block level storage for AWS EC2 instances. EBS volumes are mounted to the instances as extra volumes. Therefore, they can provide very extremely low latency between where the data is stored and where it might be used on the instance. There is an application running on your EC2 instance, and in your EC2 instance, we will be having a volume where all the data are available. So the both the compute things needs to contact each other, right? Then only application will run, all the process will happen. So that is the reason. Okay, so it should be a very faster in process, so all those things. Okay, in case if you want a snapshot, what is mean if you want create a snapshot copies. Okay, you can automate the copies as well with the EBS snapshots. Okay, you can using a time every 1 hour take a backup. Like that means every 1 hour automated pipeline will run, and then copy will be created. Suppose at one point if you lose all the data by some external activities or something happen, you can retain a data with the last hours data, so you will not you are reducing that huge disaster. So that is also option. Okay, so EBS snapshots have a different types. The volume types are very different types. One is a SSD, another one is a HDD. So SSD is what we seen in our laptops and all, we're seeing, right. If you open any of the Amazon website, there will be two types of volume options they will be giving. either it's SSD or it's HDD. HDD is a low performance, for very lesser performance, where SSD is very faster. That is the difference. Okay, so in the SSD, I'm going little faster to cover up. Okay, SSD will be having a two options. One is a GP2, another one is a GP3, which is a generation 3, nothing much. It is for a general purpose. When you have a very generic operation, you will be using a general things, and then you will be using a IOPS 1, IOPS 2, which is for very high intensive applications. Okay, if you look at the size and all, so GP1, GP2 could be from 1 GB to 16 TB, which means when you are launching an EC2 instance, you can launch till 16 GB based on the instance type. For T2 micro, you can't have a GB size, the TB size and all. Okay, so till 16 GB, when you are going for a very high big servers like a C62X large, such kind of application, you can have a volume, like a memory ROM as a 16 TB. Okay, that is what the option they are providing. So that is for general purpose. When you have a hiops, the basic thing is self for 4 GB. That basic memory should be starting with the 4 GB, and then it should be a 16 TB here as well. IOPS 16 input and output operation per second in both the GP2 and GP3 with no burst mode. Throughput means in each request for a second you can have 1000 MB of throughput, like a compute process things. 1000 GB, 1000 MB, that means almost 1 GB. If you 3 IO2 block express, you can have a 4000 MBs. So based on the requirement, the sizes we can change, and then processes you can change. So this is in general with the SSD. So SSD will be used for general purpose and very performance oriented application, for a performance oriented application, whereas the cost is also high here. Okay, whereas in HDD will be, cost will be low, performance will be low, but you can because performance will be low. At the same time, since the cost is low, you can run a huge memories, like where is a memory oriented application, like ETL jobs, analytical jobs. Those are the things are we are not expecting that a huge fast. So analytics means maybe it takes 10 minutes of time to analytic run all those jobs and get to output means, that's fine, but I need for a lesser cost. In that case, we will be going with the HDD. So okay, so this is a here also we have a two types. One is a throughput optimized STD, cold STD. Cold STD is very lower performance, which have 250 MB per second only, and then cost also very low when compared to ST1 as well. Okay, so these are the two types of STD volumes are available. If you choose here, you will be able to choose by default. General purpose GP3 will be there. If you want to provision and IOP use means, you can use. For T2 micro, cold SD1 SIS2 is not available with this root volumes, so you can't use with the T2 micro these things. There will be certain M5 kind of M5 storage means, then you M5 those kind of instance type if you choose means, you can use the cold SDD and throughput optimized STD and all. Okay, so this is the one volume type, which is the EBS volumes. Then is another volume type is there, which is an instant store volume. Okay, these are EBS volumes, as I said, detached. Okay, suppose in this case I have a EC2 instances running, right? So what I can go means, I can go here, I can detach this volume. Maybe this I will take this our volume one. I can detach this volume and then attach it. You can write detach volume. Okay. If I detach this volume, that volume will be detached from the EC2 instance, because the EC2 instance is unable to detach from EC2 instance. It's a root volume. Okay, it's sorry, it is a root volume. So only additional volume we can able to detach. So it is a root volume, so we can't detach right now since application is running. Okay, so in case if you have added additional volume, then you can detach and you can attach it with other system. So this is a what it is, EBS volumes. There is another set of volumes will be called as instant store volumes. What is this instant store volume is? It will be like a temporary. It is like a tightly coupled volume with your EC2 instance itself. Unlike an EBS, you can't detach and all. It will be tightly coupled to the EC2 instance. All the data will be stored in your EC2 inside your EC2 instance. Once you stop the EC2 instance, all the data will get erased. Okay, so you can't reclaim that memory and all. Such kind of volume is called a instance store volumes. Okay. Um, Fine, right? It is a temporary block level storage of your instance. The storage is located on disk that physically attached to your host computer, whereas an EBS volume is an different location. Okay, you can, that is where you can able to detach. This is will be available in your same EC2 instance, so you can't detach and all. So until you are running your EC2 instance, the data will be storing, and once you stop the instance, all the data will be go. So use case of this application is like we will be having a buffers, caches, and then temporary contents. Those kind of data can be stored in the instance store volume. So directly instance store will be directly this is what I already had. Since it is directly attached with our EC2 instance, it is having very high IOPS and throughput. So it will be very faster. So those are things, is the benefits of these things. Okay, as a root volume, how you can define it means when you are creating an AMI, you have to find it. Okay, here it will be right, root device is instance type, which means, sorry. So what where, how you have to choose means when you are when you are creating an EC2 instance, right, there will be an option called root device type, whether it is an EBS or instance store means you have to choose. 90% peoples will be using an instance store only. Okay, sorry, EBS only. People's very people, because we can't reclaim that, we can reclaim that memory. Even if you stop, that memory will be available in the EC2 instance, we can use it. But in the instance store, once if you restart the service, all the memory will go, right? So that is the reason people's maximum use the EBS root type. So be aware of it. Suppose in case if you want an instance store means, you can do a filters and all, and then you can get it. Okay, see here, I don't have any quick start AMIs, I don't have any. Suppose if I want to build an instance store means, I can choose this one, and if I have any instance store means, I can get it. Okay, so usually instance store will be very less. If I choose an here, see, these are the EC2 instance are coming from with the volume of instance store. So based on the, again, the based on the architecture, we have to choose which type of volume we are going to use. Okay, everyone is clear? Any doubts? So I will be talking about the purchasing plan for next 5 to 6 minutes. Then we'll start our Q&A. Okay. So there are three types of purchasing options are available in the AWS. Okay, I will show how differ the cost will be getting differs. Okay, C2. So this is the calculator which has been provided by AWS. Okay, so you, before you are getting creating and launching a new product or something, you want to do some analysis about your cost management, then you can come and approximate amount you can get it. Okay, I am creating here 10 instance or 100 instance, which is a C5 X large. Okay, or here I can choose 25 C5 2x large. Okay, so as I shown here, there is a three different purchasing option is there: on demand, savings plan, spot instances. First I will go with the on demand. On demand, that is what we created recently. Today we created, now we created two instances, right? That will be in the on demand. When I need, I will create. If I within an hour I deleted it, right? I don't require anymore, I deleted it. So in case, since it is a free tier, I just pay, I'm not going to pay. In case if I created a non-free tier applications, I would have paid for hour or in the per second capacity. Okay, how much capacity I used, I need to pay for an hour or some. With the no long term commitments, whenever I need, I will be creating and then I will be deleting it. So for this one, pay for compute capacity per second for Linux and all those things per second. Sorry, any doubts? Okay, so it is like a sorry guys. Okay, so whenever I need, I will create. If I don't require, I will delete it. So there is no upfront at the payments. There is no longer commitments. I will be paying whatever amount I have used it. Okay, and we can increase and decrease the capacity based on the demand of application. So if you see here, for an 100 EC2 instance, C25X large per month, the amount is okay. This is not this one. Okay, usage 100 utilization hours per day or something. Okay, 24,820 USD dollar is happening, bill amount. Okay, if you open calculation, it will be like a $24,000. $24,000 you have to pay for 100 EC2 servers if it is a C5 2X. So, suppose you know I am going to be, so this kind of easy to on demand is when you are creating at front, you are not sure how long this thing is going to happen. Such when there is such an uncertainties, you will be using an on demand systems. Okay, on demand systems, whereas compute savings plans and EC2 savings plan is there, which means you know that for the next 3 year or for at least the next 1 year I am going to use this application. Like the EC2 instance means you can use the savings plans. With the compute savings plan you will be getting 66 percentage of almost up to 66. Based on the region it will slightly change. If you are using a EC2 instance savings plans, you may get a 72 percentage of offer. If you go and calculator for same 100, I am using an for on demand means I am getting for a $24,000, where I am going with a compute savings plan, I am getting it for 17,958 if it is in a 1 year. If I'm choosing for a 3 year long time, then I'm getting it for 11,000. Okay, see how much cost is getting differ when you are committing with the long term. So if I'm using a compute savings plan for a 3 year, it will be $11,972. If I choose a instant savings plan, further it reduced to $10,366. So when you know that you will be going to use it for a very long time, man, it is better to go with the savings plans, whether it is a compute savings plans or EC2 instance plan. There is a little bit differences between these two things. What are all those things is, when you have chosen a compute savings plans, you can switch the availability region and then instance family, which means today I may creating an EC2 instance in the Ohio, but tomorrow I want to switch to environment to EC North Virginia is another region. Means I can, if I'm choosing in a compute savings plan, I can you make use of the same savings plan for the other region as well. At the same time, if I want to change the instance family, which means currently I'm using C series. If I want to use a X series in tomorrow, means I can change it with the same compute savings plan. But if you choose the EC2 instance plan, you may have a better off uh, concession, but you can't switch the region as well as instance family. It should be in the same region available, same region with the same size and OS and all. Okay, so that is the difference between the compute savings plans and EC2 savings plans. So again, it is also based on the requirement. Okay, it is mostly people will go with the compute savings plan because of the flexibility which is providing, changing the region and instance family. Okay, there is a one more thing is called a spot instance. What is the spot instance means? It is like kind of bidding. Okay, so what does that mean is, as we all know, AWS is having a lot of data and queries across the world, and we know all the time that all the data centers are filled up, right? There will be a free space available always in the data centers. Okay, That time what they will do means they will go it for a bidding with that open like empty spaces, like which is not unused memories are there, right? They will give a bidding. So what it do means you can get it for a very lower price as well. If you take, I'm choosing for an availability zone, okay. If you see, this is a on demand price which is a 0.850, but for spot price you are getting it for 0.03. It is 70 percentage of offer, right? 61 percentage, 58 percentage, 52 percentage offer. Sometimes it go up to 90 percentage as well. Okay, here we don't need to, unlike a savings plan, we don't need to create a long term contract and all, on demand. Then you make an ask question, then why we want to go with the on demand? Always we can use a spot demand because 50% and 60% rate come lesser than compared to on demand. But the thing is, we don't know when they will revoke it from us. Suppose 10 instance 10, they have a unused memory for creating under EC2 instance, and then we bid it, and then we got that EC2 instance and we are running an application. Within a next hour, someone bid for same 100 EC2 instance with the extra cost. Okay, he tries to provide, you got the system for 0.0376 with this nominal rate. Suddenly one person came and bid it for 0.5, 0.05 or 0.5 means it is higher than this one, right? Then they will revoke the 100 EC2 instance from you with the 2 minutes of notice period. If they will send notice now 10 13 11:39, and then they will revoke all EC2 instance from you on 11:41, and they will give it to the other person. So this is a big thing is there in the spot instance. So you can't run a stable application which you want to run for 24-hour bar 7 application and all. You can't run with the spot instances. Okay, it's better when you are having a fault tolerant applications, like if it goes down for some time, there is no issues, or image and media rendering. What it means, there is a big file you want to render, that means you can run with the spot instance 50%, and then they will remove that one. Again you can take that same application and render in another spot instance. Such kind of fault tolerant applications you can use spot instance, because we don't know when they will revoke the application server from us. So you can't run a 24 bar 7 application with and all with spot instance, because since it is giving a low cost, means that doesn't always all the architecture can be used with the spot instance. So you have to think of the fault tolerance and all those things, then only you have to choose. So these are the four purchasing options we do have: on demand, spot, compute savings plan, and EC2 savings plan. So which is the best plan based on the architecture, we have to choose it. As this course is more of solution architect exams and solution architect oriented, so the slides also will be look same. Like as an architect, you have to think what your application is demand, and then you have to choose the appropriate solution for it. Okay, so that is what major stuff. Clear, everyone? So with that, I'm completing the EC2 instance. I will be going for a next 10 minutes. We can have a Q&A, and then if no Q&A, I will give us just a recap and we can end this session. Okay. So if you guys have any doubts, please go ahead. I will be taking. If not, okay, I will just give a high recap. Okay. We have discussed about two instance. Well, first, initially we discussed about the virtualization. What is virtualization? How the physical server has been converted into virtual machines. Then we discussed about the services of the compute service in the AWS, which is EC2 instance, ECS, Lambda, and all. Then we started discussing about the EC2 instance, and while creating an EC2 instance, what are all the things needs to be considerations, like a tags, AMIs, instance type, networking, and then tenancy, placement group, user data, metadata, all those things we discuss. Later on we discussed about the EBS volumes. EBS volumes have a two types, like a SSD and STD. In SSD we have again two three top things like a GPU and GP2 and IO and IO2 and all. And then uh, we have another instance store volume that we discussed, right? After that we have discussed about uh, uh, pricing option, whereas the savings cost, savings plan, uh, compute savings plan, on demand and spot instance. So these are the quite topics we have discussed tomorrow, so today. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about the scaling, a auto scaling group, okay, which is a very important and a very interesting topic to discuss as well. So in tomorrow's also we do have a free session. Please everyone join and learn about the auto scaling group, okay. So with that, tomorrow session we are ending our free course training. So in case if you guys have any doubts or about the course and all those things, please reach out the CDP team. We will take all your questions and we'll try to give a solution for it. Okay. Please, if you guys have any doubts, please let me know.